Hello! Today I am going to be making some dinner buns. This is a recipe I've made once before and it was just a fluke. It was Easter dinner and I needed a quick recipe for buns and I wound up finding this recipe. The website was momontimeout.com and just completely random selection, and it turned out to be the best buns we've ever eaten. So today I'm going to make it again, seeing if it was just a complete fluke that first time or if it is as fantastic every single time. So what I like about this is that it's a very simple recipe and it's very quick. It takes about an hour and a half, which is fantastic for making buns. So ingredients wise, I've got 3 cups of unbleached all-purpose flour. I'm just going to add that into there. We've got 2 tablespoons of instant rise yeast, a 1/3 cup of white sugar, a teaspoon of, I like to use sea salt, fine sea salt. So those are the dry ingredients. I'm just going to turn this on for a second just to kind of get that stuff mixed up. As soon as it's ready, I've got some warm milk. It's sitting at around 110 Fahrenheit, which is a really good temperature for that yeast. And then 1 egg, which I let warm up to room temperature. And then finally, I also have 5 tablespoons of kind of warmed up butter. It's just been sitting at room temperature for a few hours. So that's looking like it's pretty mixed up fairly well. So I'm going to add everything else into it. Put that butter in. And that egg. And now, you can take a look here. The trick is just to let this stuff get all nicely mixed together. It'll probably take about a minute or so. And once that happens, then we're going to increase the speed on this mixer, probably up just by 1 or 2 notches. We'll see what kind of how it's handling. And let that go for 2 minutes. In the meantime, I'll just point out this here. So I've got 2 extra cups of the same flour, though just the unbleached all-purpose white flour, and that's going to be added in a little bit. So for now, we're just looking for this to get incorporated. And that's looking like it's pretty good. So I'm going to just increase this, actually 2 notches. I'll give it 2 minutes and then we'll come back. Okay, so after that, I mean, this is like really sticky and wet for dough, but that's where some of this other flour comes in here. So I've got the 2 cups of flour in here, and I'm going to add 1 cup, but it's a ½ cup at a time, just so it incorporates a little bit easier. So there's ½ cup. I'll just give that a second. Okay, and I'll add this other ½ cup. Let it incorporate. And then the plan here too is also to kind of just scrape down the edges a little bit as necessary. Just to help make sure it's all getting mixed in there. A cute little rabbit spatula. Okay, I'm now going to let it go for 2 minutes, and if it seems like it's still a little too wet, I'll wind up adding some flour. I want to say last time I did this, I probably added 1 more ½ cup, but we'll see what this looks like here. So I'll check on it in a sec. Well, it has been 2 minutes, and taking a look at this, this is actually pretty good. It's still just a little bit sticky, but it's definitely, as you can see, pulling away from the edges of the bowl. It's not stuck to that. It is just stuck a tiny little bit at the bottom, but that's pretty typical of doughs. So I'm just going to lightly flour my hands so I can peel this off fairly cleanly. And it's then going to go into this stainless bowl that I've got here, which has just been lightly greased with some cooking spray. And yeah, see, so there's the dough. Now I'm going to leave it for 30 minutes. I'm just going to cover that with some plastic wrap. We'll let it sit for ½ an hour, and then it's time to work with it a little bit more. Look at that, 30 minutes later, it has definitely risen considerably, which is awesome. What I'm going to do is just lightly flour my counter and my hands. I'm going to pull this out, but before I punch it down or anything, I'm just going to get a quick weight on it. And actually, I'm just going to change my units. 2 grams, okay, 1200, awesome. So I'm going to put this here. I'm just going to punch it down. Now, just lightly. I don't want to completely destroy it here. What I want is we're going to aim for probably 24 rolls. So since that was right around 1,200 grams, we can just say that's going to be 50 grams per roll. So I'm just going to quickly divide these up using my bench knife, and then I'll show you how I'm going to roll them. All right, so I've made 24 little piles of dough. So now I just want to make my buns. So, I mean, even if it's like this one here is really crazy because it's a bunch of little chunks that I was just kind of nipping off. I'm just kind of squishing it together lightly and just kind of folding it over in and around itself. I almost think of folding socks when I do this. And making a nice little roll like that, and then just giving a little bit of a spin so the seam is at the bottom, and then that's just going to go in here. So I'm going to do that to all 24 of these rolls, kind of spacing them out however they'll fit in here, and I'll show you what that is like as soon as I've got that done. After weighing them all out, I've got my 24 rolls here. The weighing, I mean, is maybe a little bit more complicated than just cutting it off, but at least you know they're going to be fairly uniform and should bake evenly. I've got this in a 9x13 Pyrex dish. I really like how that bakes. And also it looks really nice, and you can kind of see everything to the side, so it presents a little bit better. So this is just lightly greased, and I'm going to cover it with plastic wrap. Actually, I'm going to quickly dust the tops of these buns so that if they do touch the plastic wrap, I'm not going to run into an issue of sticking to the plastic. So then I will cover them up with the plastic wrap and give them another half hour to do a final rise, during which time I'm going to preheat my oven to 375. Okay, second rise complete. These buns are definitely rising and filling out nicely, so it's time to get them in the oven. Oven has preheated to 375, so I'll pop them in, and they are going to get 12 to 15 minutes of baking time, so I'll check on them in 12 and see if they look like they're done. So these are the buns after 12 or 13 minutes, and they are looking definitely done. Some nice browning up on the top. The last step at this point is just to quickly baste them with some melted butter. This was a couple of tablespoons that I just melted, obviously, before these were done. A quick brush here. Oh man. Butter on the inside, butter on the outside. Awesome. And then once that's done, I'm going to give a light sprinkle with some kosher salt, just to garnish the top and give it a little salt snap. There. And then kosher salt just like so. Then we'll let these cool a few minutes so that we don't burn ourselves trying to get them out. Well, are you hungry? You want to try a bun? Okay, so this is the taste test. So I'm just going to grab here, rip it. Oh, they rip apart really nice. How do they smell? Good enough to take a bite, huh? Rip them apart. They're super soft. Careful, it's warm. Mmm. Yeah? Oh, that's beautiful. They are so soft, moist, buttery. Mmm, delicious. The texture is phenomenal. All right, so this is exactly like they were the first time that I made them. So this is a home run recipe. So a big shout out to Trish from Mom on Time Out, because this is stellar. You like it? You gonna eat the rest? All right, so these buns are definitely taking it to 11.